Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to my podcast, My World. Today we have a special guest, Dr. Suzanne Page. She's a great woman. People always ask me, how do I get the people to come to my show? I meet a lot of people, especially when I go to book signing events. I try to find people that are not just the ordinary run-of-the-mill. When I met Dr. Page, she was running, she still is running obviously, for Palm Beach County School, for the school board in District 5. And I asked her, why is she running to be on the board? I mean, she has a tremendous background. She, just to give you some ideas, Broward College, Fort Lauderdale, adjunct professor, Stryer University, adjunct professor, Everglades University, Dean of Academic Affairs, Kaiser University, Fort Lauderdale, Associated Dean, Thomas Edison State University, Course of Development, Microeconomics, Florida Metropolitan University, Program Director, PBM Development, Vice President of Operation, City of Boca Raton, Economic Planner, Project Manager, Responsibility, and I can keep on going. But I don't have that much time. We only have a half hour. But I did ask her a question, why is she running for the board of directors in Palm Beach, District 5? And when she started to talk, it wasn't just another politician. You know, they all make a lot of talks, a lot of sound. She spoke from her heart. She was very sincere. And you can see the vibration in the voice, how passionate she was, because what's going on with our education system. Some of the books that they should not be taught at class should be taught by the parents, unless the parents give permission. And as she kept on going, I was impressed, because here's a person, when you listen to her voice, her vibration, it was so sincere. So I asked her, I says, Dr. Page, would you mind coming on my show? I'm impressed. If you want to be on the board, which I think you should be, let the people know, and I'll do what I can do to help you. No condition, no catch. And she says, I would love to. That's why she's here today. But I have a few questions that I would like to ask her. And Doctor, it's I might interrupt you, that's my habit, but that I can't help. But one of the questions that I do have is, why are you running?
That's a fair question. That's a good question. I've been asked that a lot, especially with my credentials. But teaching is a calling. And it's a calling. You don't make a lot of money, but you can change lives. And I know I've done that because it did come back to me. But our children need help because the system is failing them. And they're failing not only the children, our wonderful, precious children, they're failing the parents. They're failing the wonderful teachers and principals who I know are out there, and the community, because children are what the lifeblood of the community. And Amos, I want to be honest with you. This is not my first rodeo. I ran in 2020. I was drafted to run. And I was up against Frank Barbieri, who was a 12-year incumbent and had never had anyone run against him. And when I was told you have to run, I said, I can't do this. I don't have any money. I'm a teacher. I can change lives. That's, this is a calling. I'm called to do this. Well, I ran and I had 1 month to campaign. No funds, no money, no staff. And when all was said and done, this 12, because no one had run against Frank Barbieri until I came along. And when it comes to the children, I'm very vocal about them. And I took over 40% of the vote away from him. And they said, oh, wow. And then I said, well, let me think. Do I want to do this again? And I prayed a lot about it, to be honest. And yes, we have to do it because the schools the children are in is a failed system. And why do I say that? Well, I say that because on our property taxes, we have two taxes that sometimes three that talk about schools. So they talk about public education being free. It's not free. The tuition we pay is in our taxes. And what kind of return are we getting on our money for investment? Well, it's not that good. Now, why do I say that? I say that because they're stealing our money and they're stealing our future. Taking our money in the form of taxes.
I agree with you.
Yeah, taking our money in the form of taxes to pay for school, for tuition for public school, and our children are not being taught what they should be taught. From an educator's point of view, I have over 30 years with the kids in the classroom, either physically in the classroom or online. But either way, it doesn't matter. And I have seen such a deterioration in the quality of the student. And not only that, but the courses that are given to the students. The only course that I know of that was not watered down was one that yours truly developed. And I had a student in Norway ask me about, who developed that macroeconomics midterm, that course? Who developed it? I said, I did. And she said, yeah, okay. She was in the military. And she said, it was tough. I said, well, that's okay. Did you learn from it? She said, yes, I did. So that's the only one that I know of that's not been watered down. A lot of the rest of them have. And so I have a situation where students are coming out of high school, they're going into college, and many of them, I'm not saying it's 100%, but many of them are ill prepared or not prepared for college. And I do what I can to fix what I can in my classes, but that's a small number that I can help. So the big picture is we have to help all the students. And how do we do it? It's got to be done through on the inside, and it's got to be done by revamping the system.
Sounds beautiful. But I have another question.
Sure.
What is your plan for school reform? I mean, everybody talks, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that. And everything you said sounds beautiful. It really does. And you can see, people can see the way you're talking. It comes from here. What are your plans to change it?
Okay. First, I want to remind everyone that the school board election will most likely be decided on August 20th. That's the primary, but typically the school board is decided that on that in the primaries because education should be nonpartisan. All right, now someone's got to stick up for the children, so I'm going to do it. The plan is it's a simple plan for a complex problem because it's a very complex problem that we're dealing with. We've got 5 steps, which is not only aggressive, but it's very bold as well. The first thing we do, we're going to go in, and this will be done with different groups because it will involve parents, students, teachers, principals, and our community leaders because they are very important. We're going to do evaluation and assessment of the schools and see what works, what's good, what's bad, what's indifferent, and what's your wish list. So once we have that information, that's the foundation of our analysis. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to involve the community. So it's going to be collaboration and with the community, with community leaders, because again, education is a community issue. We will have town halls, we'll have groups, we'll have seminars, and we'll have one-on-one meetings, whatever we need to do to get the job done. In step 3, we look at resource allocation, and that deals with money. Because in fiscal year 2023-2024, Palm Beach County School Board had a budget of $5.2 billion. And lo and behold, the rating of the school system went from an A to a B. Well, you've got $5.2 billion. How does that happen? Now, I can almost guarantee next year they'll ask for more than $5.2 billion because the argument's going to be we dropped from an A rating to a B rating. So therefore, we need more money to fix the problem. Well, you've got to look at what is the root cause of the problem first. And government is good at throwing money at a problem without looking at the root cause of the problem. If you look at the root cause of the problem, it's probably in the area of reading, and that needs to be fixed. If that's not fixed, no amount of money is going to save the system. But also, with the decrease in the rating of the schools, there's collateral damage. And the collateral damage is housing prices. The value of your home decreases because every parent wants to take their children and move into an A district. Now we're a B district. So we've got to take a close look at that because the cost, to me, from where I'm sitting and from what I see and what I get on the college level, the costs are out of hand and they need to be revamped. So I think it's more of an efficiency problem. Step 4, we're going to look at empowering teachers because teachers are absolutely crucial to our students and their education. We want to make sure that they have fair compensation. We want to make sure that they have avenues for professional development so that they can educate our children to become productive, critical thinking students who can make decisions, intelligent decisions, when they go out into the world after high school. Our last step deals with transparency. Everything dealing with the school board, not only transparency, but who's accountable. The school board has got to be accountable for everything they do, and it seems like they're not. That they do what they feel like. I know that Governor DeSantis has done a very good job at passing laws that help students and families, but who enforces them? And if they're not enforced, what gets done? They go on their merry way. We're seeing that the students, instead of focusing on the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic, it seems like they're focusing on whatever the ideology of the week or day or month is. And what does that do? How does that help our students become better citizens? These kids need to be able to go out into the world after they get out of high school if they choose not to go to college.
Dr. Page, I have a question.
Sure.
First of all, the thing that you mentioned about the money, the $5 billion, it's a joke. It really is.
I know.
Because it's like you don't get to the root cause. You can put in 10 billion. If you give them $10 billion, they'll spend it. You give them $100 billion,
Yes.
they'll spend it.
Yes.
You got to have the best people, and the best people doesn't mean you spend billions of dollars. It really is a joke. And
Right.
people like me, my kids are all grown up. My daughter is 60 years old, just to give you an idea. And I don't have any children. And I don't mind paying because the truth of the matter is educating our kids, especially when they're young, it is so important because the same kids will be our politicians in the future. They will be our doctors, our lawyers, our plumbers, electricians, whatever profession. And if they don't have respect for the school and they don't learn the proper way. Look, when I went to school in New York, I came to the US when I was 10 years old, by the way, as a legal immigrant. And I retained my accent. But I remember getting up every morning. Everybody stood up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands. One nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. It doesn't say what God. It doesn't say you have to believe in God. Whatever God may be. If you God is nothing, then it's fine. The point of the matter is you taught the kids respect for the nation, respect for the flag. There should only be one flag in the school.
Yes.
Politics, keep it at home, keep it out of school. Just teach them, educate them. We used to have a course called social studies. I don't know what you call it today. We had to go and get a newspaper. Well, I lived in New York, Brooklyn, so it was the New York Times or Time magazine. And we had to pick an article and discuss. The class would discuss it. One of the things we lost in America is to agree to disagree. That's sad.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. You should be able to discuss it because our kids are our future. What I'm afraid of, as you know, I'm an author and I write many books. I have about 70 books. But all my books, by the way, my books are not politically. They're about children's and events. And to teach your children before they become jaded and cynical in life. This is what we have to teach our kids, our future. And apparently the money doesn't do it. But imagine you have a magic wand. In this case, it's marker.
That's okay.
You talk about building a new schoolhouse for our children. If you had the choice, what does it look like? Your imagination, forget about money. You have the money you need to build a schoolhouse. How would you build it? How would you show it to the people?
Okay, that's excellent. That's an excellent question because that's also on my website. Um, my motto is turn the page back to common sense education. And in order to do that, I talk about building, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about this, building a new schoolhouse because the schoolhouse that we have now needs redevelopment. It's broken, it's dilapidated, we need to fix it. So the first thing we do, we look at, in order for a house to stand, it has to have a good foundation. It has to have a sturdy foundation. In education, the foundation is K through 5, elementary school. So in elementary school, what do we want? Well, we want the students to be able to socialize effectively. We want them to get along with everybody. We want them to develop confidence. We want them to salute the flag. We want them to sing the Star Spangled Banner, which, by the way, has three verses to it. We want them to be able to read efficiently on the third grade level by the time they get out of third grade. And that is part of the root of the problem. Kids can't read on the third grade level proficiently. So what happens is they're pushed along. So you have a 20-year-old coming out of high school and they have no marketable skills. And part of the job of the Palm Beach County school system and every other school system in the country is to give the students marketable skills. And they also need to learn critical thinking. And they also need to learn analysis. They also need to learn decision-making process. And one of the things I'd like to have in the school system is start them in kindergarten. Give them just a few minutes during the week. What do you like to do for fun? Because that plants the seed. What do I like to do for fun? And that should continue through grade school and middle school and high school, because at some point the students are going to say, this is what I really love to do. And that can be their career, because if you love what you're doing, you never work a day in your life.
Are you also saying, from what you just said, that you believe that trades should be reinstated in schools?
100%, because not everybody is equipped to go to college. Not everybody wants to go to college. Now, my staff has started looking at what the schools have as far as trades go, and I'll report back to you on this because we're in the preliminary stages, but it looks like not too many of them have too many trade programs, and you have to make an application a year in advance. But I will get back to you on that. I think trade should be instituted middle school. I mean, you can't do, if you want to be an electrician, you can't do everything with middle school, but there's enough theory that you can start the students on, and it can go through to high school, and they can come out with a basic education in to be an electrician. They can go to work for a company, or they can go to vocational school, whichever. And I also plan on involving businesses in the area and saying, look, these kids, we want to do this for the kids. Help me set up a program, band together, make a donation, help set up this program for the kids that don't want to go to college, that want to have a trade. And the trades have been given a bad rap as far as I'm concerned, because they're just as important as college, because we need everybody.
Let me ask another question, because we're limited on time. Where do you stand on book banning?
I am against censorship. I'm against censorship. Now, as you know, there's going to be a but. Any book that deals with adult situations or alludes to adult situations should be in a separate part of the library where there is a gatekeeper, where that gatekeeper verifies that you are at least 18 years old, and you must show a photo ID, a valid photo ID, and you can go into that section. Our children, our minors, they have no business being exposed to adult language, adult situations. I mean, we can't help it when they're out in public with the way some people talk. But adult situations, no, they cannot, absolutely not. No, I don't want them in the schools. Now, if you look at the Florida statutes, and you go to statute, I believe it's 1000, it says sex education before fourth grade is not allowed. So K through 3, sex education is banned. How, when a child's in fourth grade, does it suddenly become okay to bring sex into the classroom? How? And then it's supposed to be age appropriate. Well, who's going to decide what's age appropriate? They can let me do it. They can let me, I'll do it. I'll be very happy to do it. So I'm against censorship, but there's a caveat to it.
That leads me to another question. What are your beliefs, you personally, men playing in women's sports?
No.
By the way, I'm a man, the
Oh,
old-fashioned
I
way.
know that. You're a handsome man too.
So if I want to be a woman next week, I'll get myself a wig and you think, and I would go into sports, you think it would be appropriate?
No. My question is, even if
But I have my, wait a minute, but I have my rights. I want to be
yes,
a
you do.
woman today.
Yes, you do have your rights, but you are physically a man because God made two, boys and girls. Okay, that's all. Even if the man has, my understanding is that even if this man has gender reassignment surgery, my question is, and I've not received a logical explanation, how do you get rid of the testosterone in the body? That's still in the bloodstream, is my understanding. And if that's still in the bloodstream, that gender reassigned person is still going to be a lot stronger than a female. And
Well,
so the females,
you make it sound so simple. It doesn't make sense to me because when the new Supreme Court justice, they ask a question, what is the definition of a woman?
oh,
Now,
I know.
she's a very sophisticated, smart woman. My God, she couldn't answer it.
No.
What makes you think that you can answer that a Supreme Court judge could not answer? What is a woman?
Yeah, here I am. I'm one. No, you can't take the testosterone. I've done some research on this. How do you take the testosterone out of the body? You don't. So it's very simple. You're outside, you look like a female, but on the inside, you're still a man. You have that testosterone. You're going to be stronger than a woman most of the time. So no, they can't. No, they can't go in there. No,
But you know
no.
how hard, and I'm sure you do, how hard it must be. We come from an older generation, I realize that, but we had certain basics. How hard it must be for a 10, 12, 13-year-old kid watching television, seeing two men kissing each other, making out, and or women and all that. If they want to do it, God bless them. That's not my business. This is what freedom
But
is
not
about.
on TV.
And don't shove it down the kid's throat.
Thank
That's the
you.
problem because it is confusing. So if you tell a kid, oh my God, you're so beautiful, you should be a woman. That would be great for you. I think it's terrible.
It's
I
disgusting.
personally, because like you said, the two genders, male and females. Yes, you have people that have different hormones, yes, but those individuals, there could be programs to help them out, whatever it might be. Because as a kid, my grandson, Max, who's a character in many of my books, he wanted to be a fireman. He wanted to be a pilot or astronaut.
It's
He keeps
okay.
changing his mind. Now he's 13 years old. He still doesn't know. Kids don't know. That's why you have parents. That's why you have guardians. I have another question for you. I wrote
May I
this
say something
down.
about that last
Yeah,
point, Matt,
sure.
please? That's why I think that there should be some time, it could be on a weekly basis, for the children to just, hey, what do I have fun doing? What do I want to be when I grow up? And it's okay for them to change their mind because their mind is working and their imagination is going. And what can I
Exactly.
do? You can do anything you put your mind to. And so that should happen because we keep these kids in a vacuum and they're programmed to do one thing. No two children learn the same way.
Next question then. Should teachers, I should actually say, administrators or school psychiatrists be obligated to inform parents when students is considering a transition in their gender identify?
Yes, yes, and yes. Parents have a right to know what is going on with their children. If your 13-year-old grandson, example. If
Actually,
a
great
45
grandson.
year, he's what?
Actually, my great grandson.
Oh, your great grandson. Oh, okay, great grandson. Okay.
That's okay.
If a 45-year-old man or female came up to their parents or you, if he was out with you, is it okay if I take your great grandson home and show him pornography? That would not be okay, right?
Right.
The parents have a right to know what happened. And I know you would tell them.
Absolutely.
And this is the same thing. I mean, the school seems to think, I've heard one of the, I won't mention names, but I've heard one of the current board members say that the children belong to the school board. No,
No.
because my questions are, do you pay child support? How much? You take them, do you get them from point A to point B for their activities? If they need tutoring, do you take care of that? If they have a boo-boo, do you take care of that? The answer is no.
The school board's responsibility is to make sure the kids get the best education, the best that money can afford, and it doesn't have to be that expensive, and to make sure you got the best teachers. Make sure the teachers don't say to kids, don't tell your parents.
Well, yeah, they do. And some of them do.
Exactly,
They
which
need to
I
get
think
out
is
of the way.
terrible, right?
The school board needs to get out of the way and let the parents, the teachers, and the educators do their jobs.
And the problem is they don't. People
They
complain
don't.
right away, and I'm glad
It's sad.
because if I would be today, what's going on, I would be complaining to the board every single day. But they come from a different agenda, sadly. So it's up to people like you. It's up to people like me to make sure we vote for people like you, Dr. Page, to make
Thank you.
sure that things are kept in order, to make sure the kids get the best education. That's what's important. The rest really doesn't matter, because that generation will
We've
be
lost it.
future leaders, a future president.
We've lost a generation, I'm sorry to say. And it's sometimes it's just very upsetting to me because the way things that are going on with the kids, and I just say, oh gosh, please.
Dr. Page, unfortunately, we're out of town. We're out of town.
May I leave the audience with one statement here? Because
Sure.
this is, I love it. It's great. I can't remember, you may have heard me say this before. I can't remember if I got this from a text that was forwarded to me or email or a meme, but it goes, imagine if schools actually help kids identify their strengths by exploring their talents from a young age and growing their skills over the 12 years, instead of letting them follow the same routine and leaving them confused in life after graduation. Is all about our babies. Thank you for having me on your show.
Doctor, thank you for being my guest today. Would you tell our audience how they can reach you or find out more about you? We will also put it in the description box in the YouTube. So
okay.
Tell them how the people can reach you.
All right. You can reach me at vote Suzanne, SUZANNE, Page, PAGE, that's all one word, .com. I've got the whole plan is on, and the solution is on my website. If you would like to donate, please, we need some help with advertising. If you'd like to come volunteer and send emails, or you want to speak with me, you can contact me through my email is attached to that, and I will get right back to you. Any and all help is welcome, and please, let's take care of our kids and change things for them.
And to wind up the show, I would like to say to all the people that are in Boca Raton, District 5, vote for Dr. Page. You're actually voting for our children, for our future. Dr. Page, thank you very much for being my guest. And my part, I'm going to try to do what I can to make sure you're on the board. And thank
you so much, Amos. Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I keep the faith and don't give up, will all my dreams